How's it going, guys? King of the Fourth Quarter here, and I'm back with another episode of our NBA Crunch Time series. If you don't know what it is, don't worry, I got you. It's basically where I sit in my room with my microphone and a couple notes, and I talk about the NBA. It's actually the series that I love doing the most. I've only done a couple episodes, but both episodes actually have done really good with the numbers. And if you guys don't know, it's all unedited, all uncut. So you're going to hear my mistakes and hear my flaws. And it's kind of fun because everything I talk about is my opinion. And of course, people don't share opinions. So in the comment sections, you guys are really good at leaving your opinion. And then we have an argument about it. It's not anything unhealthy where like we try to fight each other, but it's just two people that love the NBA talking their opinion. And it's great. I love doing it. And actually on this episode, we're going to be talking about All-Star Weekend. But after this, like next episode, I'm trying to do it once a week, guys. But next episode, I really don't have any ideas of what I should talk about. And that's exactly where you guys come in. I want you guys right now, if you have any NBA related questions, comment down below right now. And of course, if I do pick your question, you'll get the shout out and you'll get to hear me talk about something you want to hear talked about. And it's all fun and games. I really love doing this. I don't know how long the episode's going to be, but let's get into it. So last Thursday, if you guys didn't know, the NBA released the starters for this upcoming All-Star game. The way it works, the fans actually pick the starters, and then the coaches pick the reserves. So here, let me read off the starters for you guys that don't know. We got Dwayne Wade, Kyle Lowry, LeBron James, Paul George, and Carmelo Anthony in the East. And then in the West, you got Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, and Kawhi Leonard. Really solid stuff. Like I said, the fans voted for these players, and I'm not sure if I love that or hate that. We'll talk about that a little bit later towards the end of the show. But in this episode, what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be giving you guys my picks. If I had a vote, if I was a coach in the NBA, who would I vote into being an All-Star? So the way it works, guys, you get 7 picks, 7 reserves, people that are coming off the bench for the All-Star game, and you can't just pick your 7 favorite players. They can't be all guards, so there is some structure that goes along with it. You get 2 backcourt players, which means 2 guards, 3 frontcourt players, which could be power forward, small forward, or center, and you get 2 wild cards, which means they can be any position in the league. And it actually made it a lot easier for me to make my picks because I was kind of stumped on a lot of these, and I'll tell you why once I get into it. But let's start with the Eastern Conference reserves. First one on my list is, of course, Jimmy Butler. He is, in my eyes, the best shooting guard in the league. You can argue with me all you want, and I'm still going to say Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Butler. His story is just so great. I thought that he was going to make it into the start lineup for that reason. I'm pretty sure he started last year, now that I'm thinking about it, which is crazy that he's coming off the bench now. But it's okay. I mean, it's kind of a popularity contest because, of course, the fans vote. I'm gonna go out there and kind of put my neck on the table and just say that Kyle Lowry, who's been playing great, I'm not saying he's not. The Raptors have been extremely well. They're on a 9-game win streak as I'm recording this video. He started off so red hot, but he kind of cooled down, even though the team's red hot now. But I feel like him having all of Canada behind him kind of pushed him into the start lineup. You can argue me if you want, but that's just my opinion in my eyes. But Jimmy Butler is the best shooting guard in the league, so without a doubt, he's definitely a reserve since he's not a starter. Can't change the starter, so let's go on with it. Second backcourt player, I have John Wall. And here's why. John Wall has been getting better every single year. He's actually made strides to become a better leader in the locker room. His team right now isn't too great. They've been dealing with a lot of injuries, not to make excuses for them. They're 20 and 23. Of course, Bradley Beal has been dealing with injuries his entire career, which is crazy. Marcin Gortat had a period where he wasn't playing. The Nace just came back. Like, they've had a lot of injuries. Otto Porter just came back too. So they've had a lot of injuries with that team. Right now, I don't think they're not even in the playoffs. They're 11th in the East. I do see them making the playoffs just because they still have a lot of time and hopefully they can stay healthy. But John Wall has been playing amazing and he definitely deserves an All-Star spot. Next on my list is my frontcourt players. So this one is, these picks are actually pretty easy for me because in the Eastern Conference, there isn't a lot of great bigs. If you really think about the Eastern Conference, or really the NBA in general, there's not a lot of great bigs. This is definitely a guard-oriented league. But my first frontcourt player is Andre Drummond, who in my last Crunch Time episode, I told you guys that he would be my pick for most improved player, and I still stand by that 100%. The guy is a beast. Probably, he is definitely a top 2 center in the league. Of course, you got Boogie Cousins in the West, who, man, he's dropping 50. And we'll talk about that once we get to the West. But Andre Drummond definitely, I think he could have been a starter if it wasn't a popularity contest. If we're going on straight, not skill, but how they're playing this season, Andre Drummond definitely in the All-Star game. Then we're going to go to Chris Bosh. this Heat team is actually playing a lot better than a lot of teams expected. I told you guys a long time ago that the Heat are actually like a silent contender for the Eastern Conference. Like right now, of course, it's a lot of Cavaliers. In the beginning of the season, I thought the Bulls could have been a contender, but even coming from a Bulls fan, I don't see them making I can see them making the Eastern Conference Finals, but I don't see them getting past the Cavs, even though they beat the Cavs 2 times in the regular season. I would love to make an entire video talking about the Bulls, but I can't. Oh, I can, but I don't want to do it right now. This is about the All-Star weekend. So Chris Bosh, again, is another guy that definitely deserves an All-Star spot. His team is 25-21, or is it Wade's team? We can argue about that. I would say it's Wade's team since he's been there longer. He's more of a vet. We're going to go Wade's team. But Bosh, of course, deserves that spot. He's just one of the guys in the East that deserve it. Just because, like I said, there's not a lot of great big men in the East. And he's definitely one of them. Then I go to Paul Millsap. Paul Millsap is on the very silent Atlanta Hawks team. A team that doesn't have a lot of fans. I know I have a couple people that are watching this video that are Hawks fans because you guys always tell me. But if you look at the All-Star voting, the fans did not vote for Paul Millsap or Al Horford a lot. So I'm just thinking that he doesn't have a lot of fans behind him. I've heard things that Atlanta fans for any Atlanta team are the worst fans of the leagues. And I don't know about that because I've never been to a Hawks game. I don't know how quiet the arena gets. But I like the Hawks team and I like Paul Millsap. And I do think he deserves an All-Star spot. Now let's go to the wild card. My first wild card, without a doubt, a guy that should be in it is DeMar DeRozan. Again, the Raptors are playing crazy. They're out of their mind. DeMar DeRozan is definitely a top 5 shooting guard in the league. Like I said, Jimmy Butler, then you got James Harden, Klay Thompson, and then I would put DeMar DeRozan right behind them. He's been playing very well. Him and Kyle Lowry are 2 of the funniest guys in the NBA. They are definitely the funniest duo in the NBA. You definitely got to watch some interviews where they're both there. They'll have you cracking up laughing. But these are guys, like the way I made this list, I of course looked at numbers. I looked at teams who are going to be performing, and I looked at if they're going to be fun to watch. DeMar DeRozan is a fun guy to watch. He has the bunnies. He can dunk. All-Star Weekend is not about great defense. It's about having the fans happy and entertained with dunks and 3-point shots. There's not a lot of defense that are being played. So DeMar DeRozan is a guy that can bring you guys, or the East, some energy and definitely make some highlight plays. So this last pick, there's a couple guys on the list, and I'll talk about snubs. Snubs are just guys that I don't think will make it, which kind of sucks because these guys definitely deserve it. But my last wild card pick right now are between Isaiah Thomas from the Celtics and Kemba Walker. You guys are probably thinking, wow, where's Kyrie? We'll talk about Kyrie in a second. This is very hard to me. If I had to pick between the two, I can't. Those are my 2 players. I don't know how to pick one or the other. Listen to Isaiah Thomas's numbers. He's averaging 21.7 points a game, 6.6 assists, and 3 rebounds. Listen to Kyle Lowry's numbers. 20 points a game, 6.4 assists, and 5 rebounds. Yes, he has better numbers than Kyle Lowry, the starting point guard in the Eastern Conference or the Eastern game. And it's ridiculous that this guy is coming out of nowhere. And like I said, it is about making sure the fans are entertained. The guy's probably going to be, if he does make the All-Star game, he's probably going to be the shortest All-Star ever. And I do think that'll motivate some people, man. Like me, myself, I'm like 5'7". If I was a little kid watching this game and I know that I won't be getting too much taller, watching him in the All-Star game would definitely motivate me. And I think that he got under 200,000 votes, which is ridiculous for a guy averaging 21, 6, and 3. And then when you think about the record, their team is 25 and 21. They're 5th in the East. So this is a guy that's definitely leading this team. I love the Celtics. I love watching the Celtics play. I love Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens is my favorite coach in the league. But that's beside the point. This team definitely deserves an All-Star. And I think he should be a Kemba Walker. He's been putting up some crazy numbers as well. But I looked at it like this. His team is not in the playoffs. They're actually 9th. They're 1 game behind the Pacers. So just because of that, that's the reason why he's not going to be my last pick. And it's kind of tough to say that. I'm looking at it right now, actually. In the East, you got the Cavs first, the Raptors, then the Hawks, Bulls, Celtics, Heat, Pistons, Pacers. I think I got 1 player from all 8 of those teams. That wasn't on purpose, but I think that's how it worked out. You got LeBron, then you got Kyle Lowry, Paul Millsap, Jimmy Butler, Isaiah Thomas, Dwayne Wade. and Andre Drummond. Wow. And then Paul George. So I did pick a guy from every playoff team in the East. That was not intentional, but that's the way it worked out. I do think that records should play a part, and that's exactly why I picked these guys. So let's get to the snubs. The snubs are the guys that didn't make my list, but definitely could be in there. So, of course, I said it earlier, Kyrie Irving, he just hasn't played enough games this year for me to consider him an all-star, even though he's one of the most fun guys to watch in the NBA. Crazy handles, crazy finishing ability. He's definitely fun to watch, but if we're going to do this based off the numbers, I'm going to go with the guys that I said. So Kyrie Irving, he probably will get in real life, but this is just my thought process. These are my picks. So Kyle Lowry doesn't make it. Pau Gasol doesn't make it, who was actually a starter last year, which is crazy. He just doesn't make the list, man. I just couldn't find a place to fit him in. I guess you could have him or Paul Millsap, but both guys have been playing well. And let's move on to the next one. We got Kevin Love, another guy that can be exchanged with Paul Millsap. I just don't know how he would be in an All-Star game. I mean, of course, he's been a couple of them, but I don't know if he has the fit for the All-Star game. Then you have the Greek Freak, Giannis, blah, blah, blah. He's definitely been playing great. He's definitely going to be a snub. I do not think he has a chance to make it just because where he is as a player, he's still too young, and he hasn't played solid, but I don't know if he's on that All-Star level. Reggie Jackson is a guy that I definitely thought about for a long time. Reggie Jackson just signed, I think it was 4-year, $80 million deal this offseason. And a lot of guys are like, wow, did he deserve all of that? They still have Brandon Jennings, who was coming off I want to say Achilles injury. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he was just injured. And they're like, wow, do you really want to pay this much for a guy who hasn't proven anything to the league because he was coming off the bench for OKC? Stan Van Gundy and the crew did it. And boom, he's been playing great. He's definitely one of the biggest snubs on the list. He was actually in contention with Isaiah Thomas and Kemba Walker for my list, but there's only so many spots, so he didn't make it. And then last but not least, the last player on the list that could be snubbed is Hassan Whiteside. The guy's been playing solid. He actually hurts his team. I didn't talk about this, but in the comment section of the last episode, I asked you guys who you guys think will be the defensive player of the year, and a lot of you guys said Hassan Whiteside. But really, if you look at the numbers, he's actually hurting his team when he's on the court defensively. Of course, he's great at blocking that ball. He gets a lot of blocks a game, but he's actually hurting his team when he's out there on the court. Kind of weird, right? You just think about it. If you just looked at his numbers and didn't go real deep into it, you'll think, man, this guy's a monster. He's great for his team. Not the case. And because of that, I don't know if he's going to get a max deal this upcoming offseason. Something else that I may talk about in a future episode. But let's get to the Western Conference reserves. I may do this a little bit faster because the Western Conference, I thought it was a lot easier making this list than it was the Eastern Conference. So let's get right into it. First on the list, Chris Paul. Of course, coming from a Chris Paul fan, the guy has been playing great this year. Blake Griffin being out for another amount of time after getting to that fight. You think that team will be a lot worse without Blake Griffin, but they actually got a lot better. It's crazy to think about because Blake Griffin is such an impact player, but Chris Paul has been stepping his game up, and they're actually sitting at 4th in the West at 29-16, if I'm not mistaken. And they've been playing great as of late without Blake Griffin, and we just found out that he's going to be out even longer because he got into that fight. So we'll see if Chris Paul can continue this great play, but he definitely deserves an all-star spot. Next on the list is James Harden. Second best shooting guard in the league in my eyes. The team started off really slow. He started off really slow. But since they fired Kevin McHale, which I'm still not sure was the best move, they've actually moved into playoff contention. They're 7th in the West at 25-22. And he's definitely a guy that goes out there and plays hard offensively. He plays hard offensively. Defensively, different story. But that's what you can expect. He does so much for the team offensively. It's kind of hard to expect him to be an all-defensive type player. He's wasting so much energy. He's getting triple-doubles out there while getting 40 points, which is ridiculous. The guy definitely, I think he could be a starter, but because of the way things are worked out, he's not going to be starting, but he definitely deserves an all-star spot. Then you got Draymond Green, a guy who probably has, if you look at the numbers, not the best. If you didn't watch the NBA and you looked at the numbers, you'd probably think that Draymond Green was just an average starter. But he is definitely one of the most impactful players in the NBA. You look at the numbers when he's not on the court versus when he is on the court, they are extremely different. And he's a guy, one of those glue guys, one of those great guys who definitely could be starting. A lot of guys say he could potentially be the MVP of the league, defensive player of the year. Like, the guy has been getting so much better throughout his years. Think about it. The guy was drafted in the second round. So many, every team passed him up during the break or during the draft, and he landed in the Oracle. He landed in Golden State, in Oakland, and bam, he's been playing so great for them the last couple of years. He definitely deserves to be an All-Star. Because one of the other reasons, of course, they're 41-4, and he's definitely accredited to a lot of those, a big impact in a lot of those wins. So he definitely deserves an All-Star spot. Next on the list is Boogie Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins is the guy that I also think should be started. I think I said that about pretty much everybody. But DeMarcus Cousins is the best center in the league. And I'll say that 100 times until you guys prove me wrong. But he has been playing out of his mind. And it sucks to see him wasting so much time in Sacramento, a team that just can't get it right. He definitely deserves to go somewhere where he actually has a chance to win. Right now, they're actually sitting at 9th in the West because the Western Conference is it's not as great as it was last year. So they actually have a chance to make it to the playoffs, but it just sucks to see him wasting his time, his talent in a town that definitely pretty much doesn't have a great future. He dropped 50 plus last game. Well, not last, the game before last, and then 40 the game before that. So the guy has been on a tear, and he definitely deserves an All-Star spot, potential starter. If I could change it, he would be in the star lineup. But the next guy on the list is Anthony Davis, a guy who does a lot for his team. They're sitting at 16-28, a team that was in the playoffs last year, but they can't get it right either. So many injuries surrounding this team, so many injuries even including Anthony Davis. I feel like he gets injured like once a week, honestly. He's on my fantasy basketball team, so I do, even though I miss a lot of his games, I do get the updates about what's going on with him, how many he dropped, how much he's scoring, and he gets injured a lot because he puts it all out there. If you look at the injury plays, he's diving, he's going up for boards that probably he could just let drop to him, and he's falling and getting hurt and everything, knocking heads with people, getting concussions. He's a player that puts everything on the court, and it sucks to see him on a team that can't get it right, man. 16-28 is ridiculous for that team. They have some talent, but they can't stay healthy. A guy that definitely deserves an All-Star spot, even though his numbers are down from last year. Last year, a lot of people were thinking that this year could be his MVP season. Hasn't worked out that way. So because of that, he's just a reserve in the All-Star game in my eyes. So the next person on the list is Dirk Nowitzki. Yes, the old guy, the German monster. He has been playing great this year. The Mavs are 26-21. No one predicted that they would be this good. After they had the DeAndre Jordan thing, people thought that, man, they're probably going to be not the bottom of the West, but one of the bottom teams. But they have been playing so great. Rick Carlisle definitely should be in contention for Coach of the Year. Of course, there's a couple people that are a little higher than him. But this is the team that nobody expected to be this good this year. And it all starts with Dirk. No guy has been playing a lot of games this season. More games than I thought he would. And just last night or 2 nights ago when you're watching this video, he hit a game winner against the Lakers. Not saying that that's enough to get him into the All-Star game. But the way he's just been playing this entire season is ridiculous. He definitely deserves a look at the All-Star. That's my wild card pick. He is my wild card pick. And then the next one is just kind of like the East, where I'm down to 2 players and I don't know which guy should be there. So it's between Damian Lillard and Klay Thompson. So let me give you guys a case for both players. Damian Lillard is on the team that basically exploded. Every starter except for him that was on that team last year are gone. Everybody's gone their own separate ways except for Damian Lillard. He is there still fighting very hard in Portland. And people thought, just like Dirk and the Mavericks, this team is not going to be a team that they're going to be at the bottom of the East. They're going to be one of the teams with the Lakers, with the Timberwolves. But no, here they are. They're actually 8th in the West. Like I said earlier, the West isn't the best conference anymore. So they're 21-26. So they're under 500. But they're 8th. If the league were to end right now, they would be in the playoffs. Going against the Warriors, so it's going to be tough. But they would be in the playoffs right now. And because of that, I think he deserves it, man. Dame is one of those guys that have been getting snubbed year after year. This may be his year, man. This may be the year for him. He's just been playing so great for that team. He does a lot for them. He definitely does a lot. He's definitely a guy that could play 40-plus minutes and still catch an L. So you're like, what is that? Why did he do that? What is that for? He puts everything out there. Then you have Klay Thompson, a guy who averages 20 points a game, which is solid, but he's definitely on the best team in the league. And because of that, like, a lot of people think that the Warriors should have 3 or 4 All-Stars just because that team is so great together. Just like last year with the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks had all 5 of their starters in the All-Star game. And I think that people are thinking the same thing with Klay. He's definitely a guy that can bring some flair to the All-Star game with his dunking, where he has some solid dunking ability, but his three-point shooting is out of this world. And one of these two players are going to get in. I'm not sure if both or one of the two. I don't know which one. If there's this one, it's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be tough for the coaches to pick, but they're going to decide later today. So let's talk about the snubs. Like I said earlier, the snubs are guys that don't make the cut, but they definitely could have. First one I have on the list is LaMarcus Aldridge. And I still have Tim Duncan too, so let's talk about them both. They're on a team that is second in the league at 28-7. It just got blown out by the Warriors the other night, which is crazy. Tim Duncan didn't play. There's a lot I could say about that game, but I won't. Both of these guys could definitely be all-stars. They're definitely playing for one of the top teams in the league. Just like I said earlier with Klay Thompson and the Warriors, a lot of guys think that since these are the top two teams, they definitely deserve more than one all-star or two all-stars. So these are both guys that could definitely get in, but they just did not make my list. So the next guy on the list is Blake Griffin, who I'm pretty sure he may be injured. So even if he wanted to play, he wouldn't be able to. But it kind of sucks to just think about, man. The guy has so much. He's so fun to watch. He'd have been such a joy for the fans. Just because his ability to throw it down on anyone. He actually been expanding his range so he can knock down a nice three if he's wide open. He's definitely a guy that would be an all-star, but he's going to be injured. Kind of sucks for him. So the next guy I have on my list is Zaza Pachulia. You're probably thinking to yourself, Zaza Pachulia? Why is he an all-star snub? I say this because he had his entire country of Georgia, the country of Georgia behind him, and he almost was a starter in the all-star game. Think about that. This guy is he's not a great ball player, honestly. He's getting older in age, but this is probably one of his best years of his career. I was going to say the state of Georgia, but the country of Georgia have been behind him all this year, and they've been voting. I wanted him to be an all-star. He's probably not. But the Georgia fans or the Georgia natives can be very happy with what they did. They almost got their guy to an all-star game. So that's why he's one of my snubs. The next on the list is Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward is one of those guys, man, that you just don't know about. He's definitely underrated when it comes to basketball. He's very, very athletic for a white guy. If something Kevin Durant said, he's very athletic for a white guy. He has a nice shot. He's been leading his Jazz team 19-25. Not great. But I know I'm saying he's a snub now, but in a couple years, he will definitely be in the All-Star game. He's just too good not to make it at least once in his career. I don't think this is the year just because of where his team sits, and his numbers aren't great just because the Jazz are kind of a slow-tempo team, so he doesn't get a ton amount of shots, but he's a snub this year. And the last guy on my list is Rajon Rondo, a guy that was just recently leading the league in assists per game. He came back to the face of the planet after falling off when he got traded from the Celtics, and he's been playing great for Sacramento. Him and Boogie Cousins are basically a two-man show out there, and it kind of sucks to say that he won't be in there. I think he deserves a spot, but it's just not enough room for him. I'm trying to figure out if he's still leading the league in assists, because that would be ridiculous. And he is. 11 assists per game, 11.8 assists per game. The second is John Wall with 9.8. So he's leading the league in assists by an entire 2 assists, which is crazy. I'm just figuring that out now, but that is ridiculous. And if I had another spot, he'll definitely be on there. So that's it with my reserves. Next, I'm going to give you guys my dunk contest and three-point shootout predictions, or guys that I would like to see. Of course, it's not like the late 90s or the early 2000s where the best players in the league participated in this stuff. Dunk contest, wouldn't you love to see LeBron in the dunk contest? Not going to happen. We know that's not going to happen. Or Russell Westbrook, not going to happen. So I picked 4 guys that I think definitely would do it if they were given a chance. Of course, you got Zach LaVine, who's going to want to defend his championship. He definitely rose this dunk contest back to what it used to be. The past couple years before Zach LaVine came into the league, they were just trash. They were changing the rules. John Wall won it, even though John Wall was not amazing at dunking. It was just weird. They changed up the rules, but Zach LaVine brought this stuff back to life. So I definitely think he will come and redeem his title, or try to redeem his title. Next guy on the list, I have DeMar DeRozan, a guy that's extremely athletic. I think that he would definitely do it if he was asked. I do think that he would be a guy that would do the dunk contest. Then you got Gerald Green, a guy who was in the dunk contest before, one of the most explosive players in the league. Even though he's getting up there in age, he's still one of the most explosive players in the league. And then last year, Victor Oladipo, who was in it last year. who threw down a couple nice dunks. I was impressed with him, so I want to see him come back. And then last but not least, you have the three-point shootout. Last year, we had a lot of great three-point shooters, and it was really entertaining, of course. Who else was Steph Curry took it? I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, Steph Curry took it. So because of that, I do have Steph Curry coming back, along with Klay Thompson, both players. JJ Redick is third on my list. Kyle Korver, even though he's not having a great year, he's still one of the best spot-up shooters in the league. Kawhi Leonard, you guys probably like, Kawhi Leonard, yes, he's leading the league in three-point percentage. So I'm like, why not see if that's a fluke or not? So why not put him in the three-point shootout? And last but not least, I have Doug McDermott from the Chicago Bulls. Because if you guys don't watch the Bulls, this guy is a pure shooter. He can't do anything else. Honestly, he can't guard anyone. He's just a bad player other than shooting the ball. So I do think he would be a nice addition to the league or to the three-point shootout. So that's why I threw him in there. And that's pretty much all I have for you guys. If you enjoyed the video, as always, leave it a like. Comment down below if you have any questions you want me to answer. If you watch this entire video, comment down below. Comment down below. 2K is trash. If you watch this entire video, comment 2K is trash. It's been the King of the Fourth Quarter, and I'm out. Thanks so much for watching.